We are back at it. Fox 10, Talk Sports Pregame, our 3:30 edition here on a Friday. Robby Baker, Blake Niemann. Blake, if I'll pull up your shot here. Little almost like camouflage.
I guess so.
Blake here.
I wasn't intending to blend in, but here we are.
He went for the dusty Phoenix sky color today, unknowing that the green screen behind us would be the same color. We're here talking GCU on this wonderful Friday afternoon because it's been a busy week for the Lopes, officially announcing their move to the Mountain West Conference, something that we knew was going to happen, but we thought it was going to be next summer. And they moved it up, and it's now happening as of July 8th. They're members of the Mountain West, and they will compete in all of those sports coming up this fall. So it's a big jump for GCU because they're going into a much more competitive, specifically in basketball, which is a good thing because GCU is historically a basketball school. Before we get to your conversation, Blake, with President Mueller, you were over there talking with the GCU folks yesterday. What was your kind of impression of their excitement level making this move?
Yes, well, President Mueller, pretty much off the jump when I started talking to him, is when we got the invitation to come to the Mountain West, we were extremely excited, is the remarks he made, and just referring to basketball and the history of the Mountain West Conference with historically successful programs, maybe not modern day, but UNLV, back the Runnin' Rebels of the 1990s, were super successful then. And then you even look recently, they've consistently had teams get into the tournament and create havoc. No pun intended to the GCU Havocs.
Just be honest.
But looking at, New Mexico recently, Colorado State, Nevada, a lot of different teams scattered in there. But the interesting part is, Robby, is that this wasn't brought up a whole lot in our discussion, but I think it needs to be made a point that while GCU put out this graphic with all the Mountain West teams that will be there for 1 year, it's kind of like the last iteration of the Pac-12, where everybody knew that it was the last year of the teams that were in the conference that would soon be leaving, except Oregon State and Washington State. Now it's similar thing with the Mountain West. There's going to be 5 Mountain West schools that will soon be leaving to the Pac-12 to rebuild that conference. Conference realignment at its finest. So, but during this 1 year, it's going to be really competitive for GCU, and them getting in a year early, I think, was in large part to those departing schools trying to, backfill the conference as quickly as possible.
Yeah, obviously, so much was made about 3 summers ago when all the moves were starting to happen on the Power 4 level, with ASU moving to the Big 12 along with Arizona and Colorado and Utah, and the SEC keep adding schools in the Big 10, and you start to realize that the trickle-down effect of, well, then the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. And so where does the Pac-12 get their schools? Well, they turn to the Mountain West, and then that.
Now you could literally refer to the Pac-12 as the state schools plus Gonzaga. It's Oregon State, Washington State, Utah State, San Diego State.
It is. I didn't think
State.
about that. Yeah.
It's like all state schools. I don't know.
That is kind of funny.
I'm sure that's Texas State now.
Texas State. Yep, they just got it. That is kind of funny.
I don't know. It's funny how it all played out that way, but I don't know if that's how it was intended. But
that is actually a very good point.
It's the states plus Gonzaga and basketball.
Gonzaga. Yeah, but in terms of, to your point, before we get to your conversation with President Mueller, to get in this year early, if you will, for GCU, that means they're going to have a chance in basketball, but across all sports. But for the purposes of our conversation, specifically in men's basketball, Boise State, they're still in the Mountain West this year. San Diego State, still in the Mountain West this year. Colorado State, still in the Mountain West this year.
The
reigning champs. Those are 3 kind of powerhouse style programs. In San Diego State, a huge name in college basketball.
New Mexico, the Pit, that's an iconic environment. I mean, you go down the list of iconic basketball arenas on the West Coast. I mean, it's Pauley Pavilion in UCLA and the Pit
in New Mexico. Yeah,
it's like those 2 are really iconic West Coast, and the Kennel up in Gonzaga. Like those few programs are kind of the iconic West Coast basketball locations.
Yeah, so for GCU to have a season coming up where they get to go against that competition, it'll be a great litmus test for this program because they want to become a premier. They already are starting to, but a perennial mid-major power in the West Coast here, and moving to the Mountain West helps them solidify that a little bit more, and getting to go up against some of these schools for this last year of this iteration of the Mountain West will help them as well. But without further ado, let's toss it over from Blake Niemann to Blake Niemann here in President Mueller's office yesterday, getting a chance to talk with the GCU president about this move to the Mountain West.
All right, President Mueller, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day. I know it's been a busy summer for all of college athletics, especially for GCU, officially making the move to the Mountain West Conference. What went into the decision for GCU to make this move to the Mountain West?
Well, it's been an unbelievable journey, right? A few years ago we were in the Pac West Conference, which was a Division II conference, and we got Division I status, moved into the Western Athletic Conference, and we've done a lot of work with the Western Athletic Conference. And had a very, very good experience there. But when the Mountain West called and said, would you be interested in coming, we got extremely excited. We have a broad-based athletic program here, and we're proud of all of our sports. I think 21 sports that we're doing extremely well in, 76 championships in the last 10 years or something. But basketball is our primary sport. And the Mountain West Conference is unbelievably strong in basketball. 2 years ago, they had 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. In the last 4 years, they have at least 4 teams every single year. So historically important basketball programs, UNLV and Nevada and New Mexico, big arenas, sold-out arenas, great fan bases. And for us to join that conference in the area of the country that's growing the fastest is just it's an amazing thing, and we're very grateful for it and really looking forward to it.
And the initial invitation for the conference was initially intended to be next summer, but since got moved up to this summer. I guess what expedited the process to be able to make this move now?
Well, the idea was that we would go in 26, 27, but if things could be worked out, we would go in 25, 26. And so that was a long process, but as it turns out, the board decided to bring us in this year. That's exciting for us. It's exciting for our athletes. It's exciting for our fan base. We had a couple other options if this would not have worked out, but this was the best option by far, was to enter 25, 26. They're excited about it because it's going to position them better when this new TV contract is up, because we have the 5th largest market in the country. There's only one other Division I program here. Arizona's a fast-growing state, and so both for them to get us in early and for us to start early was the best thing, and so we're grateful that happened.
How do you feel GCU aligns with the kind of sentiments and the similar values of the rest of the Mountain West schools?
That's a great question. I had a long conversation this morning with the president of Wyoming, University of Wyoming, who is the current chair of the Mountain West Conference. We talked a lot about that. There's a lot of people who are bemoaning the fact that we have the transfer portal now. We have NIL, and athletes can get paid, and that's changing college athletics. And I had a chance to talk to the NCAA president, go out to dinner with him a couple years ago, and I said, it doesn't have to change. What we need to do is we really need to focus on not ever lessening the academic requirements. This can be a good thing. Students that wouldn't have thought about going to college, student athletes from Europe are coming here to play college basketball because they can get paid. Athletes that are currently playing college basketball that would have jumped to the professional ranks are now staying in college. And so as long as we really work hard at keeping student athletes choosing serious majors, really making academic progress, and graduating, we won't have the problem of so many athletes leaving early thinking that they're going to play professionally, and when that doesn't work, now they're left holding the bag. They don't have a degree, they don't have a future. And so I think there's going to be, in college basketball is going to have a big run the next 10 years. We're going to get the better players out of Europe to come here and play. We're going to keep the kids in the country in college longer. Our graduation rates are going to go up. I think it's going to work really to the benefit of everybody. We've got a lot of work to do around, establishing better parameters for NIL. I think we have work to do around the transfer portal. But I think we'll get those things fixed, and this will be a big growth period for college athletics.
Many of the Mountain West schools sponsor football. Does GCU have any plans of starting a football program anytime soon?
Football is a very, very popular sport in America. I get asked that question 2 or 3 times every week, and I understand why. And the very top 30 or 40 football programs in the country do really well offering football. In fact, they do so well there's spillover money to help the rest of the athletic programs. It's not true for most of the football programs in the country, though. And we'd have to give up so much in order to, we'd have to close programs, we'd have to cut back on scholarships in a lot of areas, we'd have to cut back on budgets in order to have football.
All right, well, we'll end our, Mike's back on now. We'll end our stream kind of on that point here. We got about 2 minutes left here on the stream, Blake. I was, on social media today, and you start to see the aggregators pick up different reports and things. I actually saw, I don't remember what outlet put it out, but it was actually like a Photoshop of a GCU football helmet that, well, they're in the Mountain West and the conference is going to, no, let's just put it to bed. GCU is not adding football. It is a challenging time for college athletic departments all across the country with revenue sharing and all the different changes. GCU, unfortunately, had to cut men's volleyball last year. They are not adding football. Essentially, I mean, you could probably explain it a little better in the details, Blake, because you talked to President Mueller yesterday. But from my understanding and people around the program that I've talked to, you basically have to gut the entire athletic department to get the budget to create a football team, that is just not happening. GCU, I'm sorry, GCU fans, if you want football, or football, not basketball. If you want a football program, it's not happening at GCU.
Yeah, I mean, the way President Mueller was explaining it to me yesterday was the logistics just don't line up. I mean, when you think about all that goes into developing a college football program, you need a 40,000 bare minimum plus seat stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to build that at 33rd and Candleback? I mean, you're going to have to get some immense infrastructure overhaul. You got to get athletic trainers. You got to really up dues for students for athletic fees to fund the football program.
The amount of scholarships you need.
The amount of scholarships, you got to, now as at least 105 is now available. That's how much ASU is using, 105.
And if you want to be competitive, you got to do it.
And you got to do it. But here's the thing. So then he contrasted that, whereas if you're just focused on basketball, that's 16 scholarship players max per men's team and then women's team, so 32 overall. And then when you think about the new revenue sharing model, which allows schools to pay athletes directly, that went into effect earlier this month on July 1st. Think of it from GCU's standpoint and how advantageous that would put them from a basketball standpoint. Schools like GCU and Gonzaga, who don't have football programs,
all your money funneled right there.
All your revenue money. When if you started a football program, it probably wouldn't be that successful. It would take probably decades.